Hello everyone, this is Ronnie, and this video will be a little bit about labels. Let's talk about labels because when it comes to diets and lifestyles, a lot of people maybe get caught up in what label they've got. So I'm just going to close this door 1 second. They want a particular label for their lifestyle, for the diet they're doing, a name for it. They want to be part of a particular community. I don't know what the human desire is or need for it, but some people, but then I've heard people say like they want to get rid of labels, they don't want to have a label, they feel they're being too restricted and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit about these different labels, and when it comes to the kind of diet that I'm doing, that some of you are doing, raw, vegan, fruitarian, plant-based, whatever you want to call it, those are basically the four major labels that you might want to put on: vegan, raw foodist maybe, raw food, fruitarian, and plant-based. Let me go through what I take from all of these, the different things. Vegan is purely a lifestyle where you're trying to make choices of not just food but of every aspect of your lifestyle. You're trying to make choices limiting the use of animals as products and the harm that comes to animals when we use them as products and services within in a commercialized sense. So the way I kind of look at veganism is like, if everyone had if everyone had their own animals or something like that, they could probably take care of them quite well. And if you collected eggs from chickens or something in your own garden or whatever, it might not be as big an issue. I still think it's a bit of a strange thing to do, and I wouldn't do it myself, but I still think that it wouldn't be as cruel. But when it's all commercialized, industrialized, all that stuff, it becomes like immensely cruel, because no one's really no one's seen what's going on basically, so people are just kind of going along with it. So a vegan lifestyle, vegan is, to me, that's what it is. It's avoiding harm to animals, not using animal products. But that means everything. It could be your clothing and everything else. It does not necessarily mean anything to do with how you approach your diet, apart from that you don't use animal products in your diet. Vegans are usually pretty strictly non-animal products at any time. So, and it comes down to animal ethics, And I went vegan kind of in an ethical or spiritual way before I did for health. I assumed that it wasn't better for your health. I didn't think it particularly was when I first started off. And then I learned that it was. So it wasn't. I became more interested in the health aspect. But initially I was more interested in the animal ethic kind of part of it, and just felt like I didn't have to contribute to that. So we've got vegan as a label, and then I hear sometimes, I don't understand when some people say I don't want to label myself as a vegan. So I've heard someone say I'm not going to label myself as a vegan, and I asked them, do you still do a vegan diet? Do you eat animal products now? And they said no. So I don't really understand, but it's like they just didn't want a label. Now I don't know what this big pressure everyone has about having a label. I don't know what the big pressure is. Now we've got this thing in society now where people don't even want to label themselves as a particular gender, a particular sexual preference, a particular like anything. Like they want it to be like every day they wake up and they're a different person. Well, I don't really like. You're allowed to change, of course, but labels don't really restrict you in any way. They just help other people to understand what you're doing and understand you. So it's really about other people and not trying to make other people uncomfortable and confused over what you are. So I'm happy for people to label me as a vegan if they like. It's not a big deal anyway, but I'm a vegan. And I don't use animal products as far as I know. Obviously in my food I don't, in my clothes I don't know if I've got some non-vegan clothes maybe. But I would say that particularly, although I'm a vegan, I don't fully align with what a lot of vegans do, because a lot of vegans aren't interested in the health aspect of the lifestyle, so they're more interested in the animal activism thing, and they a lot of them smoke, drink alcohol, take drugs, do all the things that everyone else does, and eat junk food. So they do all those things, and I don't do those things, and I don't really align with those things. And they don't exercise, they don't get out into nature, they don't feel any kind of connection with any big connection with health in any way. So vegan to me is not really a complete label for what I am or what I'm doing or what I'm interested in. And some people have said to me, well, the fruit festival is, and the reason I'm kind of bringing up this video is people mention the fruit festival and say it's all vegans at the fruit festival, and I say it's not. It's definitely not. Whether it's Woodstock, Canada Fruit Fest, UK Fruit Fest, it's not all vegans. Doesn't mean that there's not a lot of vegans there, but it's definitely not all vegans. Then you've got plant-based. Plant-based is referring to a diet that is mostly plants, and it is generally a vegan diet, but plant-based really signifies the person's coming to a vegan diet or type of diet from a health aspect. So they've either had some health issues or they want better performance or whatever, so they call it plant-based. They're not necessarily 100% vegan, they're not necessarily committed to veganism as an ethic towards animals and the environment, but they are committed to better health through mostly eating a vegan style of diet, and a healthy one at that, where they generally would focus on whole foods and they might cut out other unhealthy parts of the diet like processed foods. In reality, most of the people that claim to be healthy vegans who are eating cooked food are eating plenty of junk food as well, and or what I would consider junk food, like processed foods and stuff like that. And that's all fine. I just remember like happy, healthy vegan people like that, and then I'd see them like eating some kind of vegan ice cream at some place, and then vegan, I don't know, junk food, and I just thought, well, this isn't really healthy vegan, but anyway, yeah, plant-based. Plant-based is basically the diet of the entire world, and most people out there, so it's a very vague thing. Most people eat mostly plants, whether you think they do or not. Most people eat mostly plant foods, and what we're really talking about with plant-based is is probably very tiny to no non-vegan foods. But there's still plenty of people in the plant-based thing that are like, oh yeah, I'll have a little bit of fish now and again, or I'll have some honey now and again, or I'll have an egg now and again. They're not as strict as a vegan would be, and yeah, they generally there's a lot of vegans. Basically, healthy vegans might call themselves plant-based, or you could just get the people who are doing the diet but not vegan. So that's kind of what the label means. Raw vegan to me is, I don't think it necessarily needs to be that a person is 100% raw, necessarily. But it's someone that has really embraced the idea of raw foods being the best foods, and they want to basically fill their diet with as much raw foods. They're also vegan. So I've never really heard of a raw plant-based, but maybe that's another thing. But raw vegan, I would suggest, is a vegan ethically, and has embraced the idea that raw foods are the best foods, and that we should make them the predominant part of the diet. I don't necessarily think you have to be 100% raw to call yourself a raw vegan, but maybe that's where calling yourself 100% raw vegan would be the different label if you wanted that extra label. But a raw vegan diet would be a diet of raw vegan foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, mostly uncooked, or entirely uncooked, unprocessed, unrefined, eaten simply, raw. Fruitarian is a diet based on fruit, or all fruit, or mostly fruit. People are using it in very vague ways. Just once again, it can be people that aren't 100% raw, but they eat mostly fruit, or they aspire to that, or they like that, or they feel comfortable with that, or whatever. So I don't necessarily think these labels have to be 100% this, 100% that. I think if you're vegan, it should be 100% you are a vegan as much as you can be, or that's your intention. You might accidentally have something that's non-vegan, whatever. Plant-based is a more broad term. Raw vegan, I think, is more about, I think raw vegan and fruitarian is more about your intention, what you believe, that you accept that raw foods and fruit are the best thing for your diet, or the basis of your diet, whether you do that 100% or not. So I don't necessarily think the label has to mean that. It can be just that that's, you know, your belief, where you're going towards, and everything. And so I usually call myself a raw vegan, maybe a raw vegan fruitarian. Sometimes I use the word fruitarian, but I don't know, I used to use the word fruitarian more, and it just, for some reason, I mean, I'm not 100%, I'm not a strict fruitarian, I don't just eat fruit. I don't particularly believe or particularly aspire to the idea of just eating fruit or only fruit. I don't mind having salad now and again, nuts and seeds now and again. But I do kind of believe we're frugivores, and that fruit is the food that our body is designed for. So maybe I should go towards just 100% fruit at some point, but I'm not really trying to push myself into these into a corner more and more. I'm quite happy to have some variety in what I'm eating. So those are the way that I would look at these labels. If someone though is going to go and write a book and publicly go up and maybe speak and everything and say raw vegan, I think it should be that they are 100% raw vegan. If you are calling yourself a fruitarian and you're writing a book about it, or going out in public or doing a channel about it, you probably should be doing that lifestyle 100%. If that's what you're kind of publicly, if you're just with your friends and people around you and they say, what kind of diet do you do? And you say, I'm a raw vegan or fruitarian mostly or whatever, then that's fine. But I think if you go up in terms of leadership and you're going to teach people and you're going to tell people about this and spread this message, then you probably want to stick to be clear with people. You probably want to be 100% on what you're doing if that's what you're sharing with them. So that's the different labels, I guess. But the bigger conversation is, should you feel any kind of pressure or worry or fear about what label you're under? Or, some people just don't want labels and all that. And I just don't think you should let these things pressure you. I think the label should come when you're happy with what you're doing. I don't think you should say, I'm now a fruitarian. Like, tomorrow I'm a fruitarian now. I'm not going to do that anytime soon. I'm not going to say like I'm going to get, if I get comfortable with eating just fruit for a couple of months or a couple of years, and then I realize, you know what, I'm kind of a fruitarian now, then I'll label it, and so that other people can clearly understand what I'm doing. For the moment, I would say raw vegan, maybe raw vegan fruitarian, and or raw foodist. Sometimes I say raw food if I don't think the person really understands or gets what a vegan is or is interested in that or whatever. But I will label myself as a vegan as well to people that I don't think really are ready to hear about raw food. I don't usually use the word plant-based, because I think plant-based is like the scaredy cat way of saying vegan. It's like the kind of, I don't want to say the word vegan because it freaks people out. But I think it's important to be open about that. And I'm not plant-based because I'm not kind of like having mostly plant foods or whatever. I just don't have any animal foods. So thanks for watching the video. If you're interested in learning more about this lifestyle, feel free to subscribe, keep on watching the videos. I've got like 500 videos if you want to watch any of the others on YouTube. If you want to learn about the Fruit Festival and maybe consider coming next year, get on our announcement list, go to fruitfest.co.uk/registration. If you want to support us by buying a hoodie or a t-shirt, go to fruitfest.co.uk/shop. And thank you very much. Let me know in the comments below what you think about some of my comments on this in this video, and if you'd like me to make a video on any other topic, please feel free to share below what you'd like to hear about. Thank you very much for watching, and go out there and have a fantastic raw life. Thank you.